Alright guys, let's be real. Tax season? For most of us, just hearing those words brings on a low-key dread, right? You gather piles of documents, stare at confusing forms, maybe chug an extra energy drink. Ever feel like your brain just shuts down trying to figure it all out? Well, guess what? It's not just you being lazy or bad at math. There's actual science behind why taxes feel so overwhelming. Like it's your brain hitting its limit. And today on Behavioral Hacks, we're decoding why tax complexity messes with our heads, and how understanding our own psychology can actually help us cope, and maybe even push for a system that doesn't feel designed to torture us. So, the big bad villain here has a fancy name: cognitive load. Think of your brain like a computer processor with limited RAM. When you try to run too many complex programs at once, like deciphering tax rules, tracking different income sources, figuring out deductions, your processor gets maxed out. Tax systems, especially the US one, are loaded with complexity. Different rates, weird rules, exceptions to the exceptions. It's like trying to solve a massive puzzle where the pieces keep changing shape. Research actually shows that the more complex the tax rules, the worse everyone gets at figuring out what they owe. Mistakes go up, both paying too much and too little. It's not random screw-ups. Our brains struggle systematically under that pressure. Now, here's where it gets really interesting from a behavioral hacks perspective. Our brains aren't just cold calculators. And faced with this tax complexity and the uncertainty, did I do it right? Am I going to get audited? How much do I really owe? Our emotions kick in big time. Neuroscience research shows parts of our brain associated with emotion, like the amygdala, light up. We anticipate the potential pain of owing money or getting penalized. Or maybe even the sneaky thrill of getting away with, let's call it, aggressive accounting. This emotional tug-of-war massively influences our decisions, way more than just calculating penalties versus rewards. So what happens when our logical brain is overloaded and our emotional brain is freaking out? We do what humans do best: avoid. This is why procrastination runs rampant during tax season. It's why so many people file for that tax extension we talked about earlier. Remember the trend leading up to May 1st? It's millions of people hitting the snooze button on their cognitive load. Filing an extension feels like immediate relief. That's present bias in action, valuing comfort now over dealing with it later. It's a coping mechanism. You're not necessarily trying to cheat. Your brain is just trying to manage the overload. The problem, as we know, is that extension is for filing, not paying. Ouch. Okay, so our brains are hardwired to struggle with complexity and avoid pain. Does that mean we're doomed to eternal tax stress? No, this is where behavioral economics offers some hacks, not for cheating the system, but for working with our psychology. Governments and tax pros are increasingly using nudges. These aren't harsh penalties, but subtle prompts to guide us towards better behavior. Think timely reminders. Getting that email right before the deadline? Social norms. Messages like 9 out of 10 people in your area pay their taxes on time. Makes you want to fit in, right? Pre-filled forms? Reducing the effort needed, yes please. Less cognitive load means easier compliance. Simplification. This is the big one. It's just making the forms, instructions, and the rules themselves simpler. Duh. Less complexity means less cognitive load, fewer errors, and less desire to avoid the whole thing. And of course, there's technology. Tax software has been a game changer, automating calculations and guiding us through the maze. It basically acts like an external hard drive for your cognitive load. AI is taking this even further, potentially making things smoother, faster, and maybe even fairer by analyzing vast amounts of data. But this is a big but. Technology isn't a magic bullet. Algorithms can have biases. We've seen cases where tax audit algorithms disproportionately targeted certain groups. That's not cool. So, while tech helps, we need transparency and human oversight to make sure it's fair. Ultimately, decoding tax complexity isn't just about making filing easier. It's about building trust in tax morale. When the system feels overly complex, unfair, or designed to trip you up, people naturally resist. But when it's simpler, transparent, and feels fair, compliance becomes less about fear and more about participating willingly. So, next time you feel that tax season dread, remember, it's partly the system, and partly your brain's natural reaction to overload and uncertainty. Understanding these behavioral forces gives you power. Power to manage your own procrastination. Maybe start earlier, break it down, and power to understand why advocating for a simpler, smarter tax system actually matters for everyone. What's your biggest tax headache? Is it the complexity, the fear of messing up, or just finding the motivation? Let me know down in the comments. And if you want more hacks for understanding your own brain and the world around you, make sure to like this video and subscribe to Behavioral Hacks. Stay rational mostly.